Hello everyone, tonight we step into the depths of a forest where silence holds more weight than words, and where countless travelers have vanished on a trail that should lead somewhere but never does. This is the legend of the forest path that leads to nowhere and never ends. For centuries, locals have warned outsiders never to wander too deep into the ancient woods. They speak of a trail that looks like any other at first, a dirt road framed by towering trees, a path marked by weathered stones and faint wagon tracks. Some believe it was once used by merchants long ago, a shortcut between villages. Over time its purpose was forgotten, and it became something far darker. The path remains, but the destination does not. Stories of the path first appeared in village records, where entire groups disappeared after setting out to travel it. Families, merchants, even soldiers were swallowed by its endless turns, never to be seen again. Search parties sent after them only returned when they abandoned the path itself. Those who followed the trail deeper simply never came back, their shouts and torches lost in the shadows of the trees. The strangest thing is that the path does not always appear to everyone. Some wander through the forest and never see it, while others stumble upon it without meaning to. Often, when they are lost or seeking a quicker way home, it seems to reveal itself when it chooses, as though the forest itself decides who may step upon it. Once you see it, curiosity almost always wins over caution, because the path looks inviting, straight and easy compared to the twisting undergrowth. It feels like a promise of safety, yet that promise is a lie. Those who have dared describe the same sensation. Time moves strangely on the path, hours pass without the sun, shifting shadows stretch unnaturally, and the air grows heavier as though pressing down on the chest. Travelers find themselves walking longer than they should. Their footsteps echo oddly, and sometimes they hear others walking just behind them. Though no one is there, the deeper they go, the more the trees begin to repeat. Landmarks reappear, stones they passed before return, as if the path folds back on itself, leading them in endless circles. But the most terrifying accounts come from the rare few who manage to escape. They speak of hearing whispers in the leaves, voices calling their names or urging them to continue walking. The voices are often familiar, sometimes those of loved ones long dead, sometimes their own voice echoing back at them. Some describe shadows flitting through the trees, keeping pace with them, never fully seen, but always near. The sense of being watched becomes unbearable, yet when they turn, there is nothing, only the endless line of trees. One old tale tells of a group of hunters who vanished on the path. Only one returned days later. He stumbled into his village clothes, torn, eyes wide. He claimed the path had no end, that he and his companions had walked for days without food or water, yet somehow did not weaken when they tried to leave the trail. The forest itself shifted, trees closing in, branches forming walls, until only the road remained. He swore that his friends were still walking, trapped on the trail, unable to stop their steps, repeating forever in silence. He himself only escaped when he shut his eyes and refused to walk any further, collapsing on the ground when he opened them again. He was outside the forest alone. Legends grew around the path. Some claimed it was cursed, others that it was a gateway, a threshold between worlds, that once entered refused to release its travelers. Some whispered it was not a road at all, but something alive, a creature disguised as a trail, feeding on those who walked it, devouring their sense of direction, their memories, their time, until nothing remained but footsteps on dirt. Even modern attempts to study the path have failed. Hikers with compasses and GPS equipment report devices failing, batteries drain instantly, maps glitch, showing their location spinning in endless loops. One group recorded hours of video only to find the footage consisted of the same 10 minutes, repeating again and again, as if time itself had folded along with the road. And yet the forest path continues to call people. Curiosity is powerful. The idea of a road that never ends, a puzzle waiting to be solved, is too tempting for some explorers, researchers, thrill seekers. All of them step into the woods hoping to uncover the truth few are ever heard from again. The path does not care who you are, it only cares that you walk. And once you do, it rarely lets you go. The deeper stories of the endless forest path are far more chilling than mere disappearances. They suggest that the path does not only trap bodies, but plays tricks on the very soul. Those who escape speak of changes in themselves, subtle at first, but undeniable. One man swore that when he looked in a mirror weeks after leaving, he saw not his own reflection, but a stranger's face for a fraction of a second. Others have complained of hearing footsteps behind them long after they return to their homes. The path, it seems, does not always let go, even when it releases you physically. In village folklore, there is the tale of a young woman who ignored her elders' warnings and ventured onto the trail. She was found months later, standing motionless at the edge of the forest, her eyes vacant, her hair streaked white, though she had been gone only a few days. By the reckoning of her family, when they tried to speak to her, she would only whisper the same phrase again and again, "I am still walking," even as her body remained still. Her mind was forever pacing that cursed trail. The forest itself seemed complicit in the mystery. Witnesses describe the trees shifting subtly, branches moving without wind, trunks leaning closer, as though the forest watches those who intrude. Sometimes entire sections of the path vanish, replaced by dense thickets, forcing travelers to turn only to find themselves once again upon the road, as if it bends reality to prevent escape. The air grows colder the deeper one goes, and some claim to see fog that rolls across the ground, glowing faintly as though lit from below. There are also stories of travelers meeting others on the path, strangers who appear friendly, even lost like themselves. They walk together, share words, but sooner or later one vanishes. When the survivor looks back, there are no footprints, no sign anyone had ever walked beside them. Some whisper these are not fellow travelers at all, but echoes of those the path has already claimed, phantoms doomed to wander forever and lure others deeper. Perhaps the most terrifying account comes from a diary found in an abandoned hut near the forest edge. The pages tell of a man who entered the path to prove the legends false. At first, his entries were confident. He noted landmarks, described the sound of birds, and the feeling of soil beneath his boots. But as the days went on, his writing grew frantic. He complained that the sun refused to move, that his shadow had stretched until it touched the trees, that he heard his mother's voice calling from ahead, though she had been dead for years. The final entry read, "I no longer know if I am walking or if the path is walking me." After that, the book ends, stained with dirt and rain. The endless trail has become a subject of fascination for storytellers and scholars. Some believe it is a thin place, a boundary between worlds where the rules of space and time collapse. Others suggest it may be a remnant of some ancient ritual, a road built not for humans, but for something else entirely, a road that demands constant travelers to exist, and so ensnares those foolish enough to tread upon it. Still others claim it is punishment, a scar on the earth left by an old curse, where souls are trapped to wander until the end of time. What unnerves even skeptics is that despite countless warnings, people still vanish in that forest. Modern hikers vanish just as easily as old merchants did. Their phones discovered days later, buzzing endlessly with alarms, but no voices on other end. Rescue teams comb the woods, but always find themselves circling back to the same clearings, the path mocking their efforts, as if it decides who may be found and who will remain within its labyrinth forever. If you ever stumble upon the path, locals say you must never step onto it. Do not even place a foot on its soil, for even one step can be enough to bind you. They say if you hear your name whispered from the trail, you must cover your ears and flee, for the path knows who you are. It knows your voice, your memories, your desires. It will use them to lure you deeper until you are walking endlessly into a place that has no end. And so the legend of the forest path endures, a story passed down not just as a warning, but as a reminder that not all roads lead some. Where some roads are hungry, some roads are alive. Some roads once taken will never let you go. The path waits in silence among the trees, patient, eternal, leading always to nowhere.